Hey everybody, Bearded Rogue back again. This time, for this Vlogust video, I want to talk about a game that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is Purrrlock Holmes, Furry Artie's Trail. This game has become very, very important to me for a couple of reasons, and I'm going to go into that in this video quite obviously, but the first thing I want to say is I picked this up at Origins. I actually demoed it for IDW Games at Origins in the shifts that I had in their booth. It couldn't have been a more fun experience to demo this game because I love it, and because there's a little bit of history with it, and it kind of ties in with my history as a gamer and my history as a game designer, so I wanted to kind of get into that. This isn't really a review. The review that I have for this game is I love it. If you like deduction games, you should play it. It is a deduction game that doesn't require pen and paper, which makes it kind of unique and a bit entry level. Not that the deduction in it is ridiculously easy, but it's a game that doesn't require nearly as much second level logic to figure it out. Like, if you look at the clues that are in front of you and the clues that are in front of everyone else, there is a right answer, and it's going to become apparent, and you'll get better at it as you play, which is also really cool. Anyway, I'm gonna put the box down, but I love the art. The artwork is by Jackie Davis, who always kind of blows me away with her art style, and this game is no exception. She did a whole bunch of pieces of art of animals in Victorian dress, and you'll see a few more of those as I hold up some components and everything, but gorgeous, gorgeous design on the game. And yeah, so let's get into a little bit of this. So this game is a deduction game, and I kind of grew up with deduction games being one of my first loves. I played Clue until my father got so tired of playing Clue that he felt it necessary to get another deduction game to try to get me to play something else. And I thought I would be able to reach it, but it looks like it's not within reach. My dad got tired of playing Clue with me, and so he went out and bought a 3M bookshelf edition of the game Sleuth by Sid Sackson. And Sid Sackson was way ahead of his time, genius designer in his own right, and he came up with all sorts of amazing games. Can't Stop, Acquire being two of the other big ones. Sleuth was the one that I was first familiar with, and when I was familiar with it, I had no idea who game designers were, who Sid Sackson was. I just knew that I really, really loved playing this game with my dad. And it's a deduction game. In it, one of the cards out of the deck of gemstone cards is hidden, and you're trying to figure out which one it is. The restriction is that you're only allowed to ask certain questions based on the question cards that you have. So you can pose a question to a person to ask, like, how many 2 gems they have, or how many of this color gem they have. But you're limited by what the cards that you have as questions. So you have to try to figure out how to best use your questions to arrive at the answer that you need. It's a really, really clever mechanism that I haven't really seen repeated anywhere. A lot of deduction games are very similar to Clue or Mastermind, to other games that I played a lot of when I was younger, that are, you know, here's my information, how much is right, how much is wrong. In this, it's much more about tracking information and counting where everything is and accounting for everything so that you can narrow it down so that you know what the card that's missing is. It's a really cool game. I highly recommend it. Eagle Griffin has an edition that's currently out. I just picked up a copy for myself at Origins because I don't have my father's 3M copy that he bought forever ago. I don't think he has it anymore either. Most of the stuff that I had access to before my time in the Army just kind of doesn't exist anymore. So I had to get my own copy, and I picked up that. for the nostalgia factor and because I want to be able to share that with people. And I picked up Purrrlock Holmes. So Purrrlock Holmes itself, my history with this game. So I wasn't involved in the design or the development of this game really at all. I had nothing to do with that. What I did do is 2 Gen Cons ago, or was it? No, it was last Gen Con. Last Gen Con, I was at the Nerd Night event, which I plan on going to again this year. So if you're at Gen Con, I highly recommend you go to Nerd Night. You will find me there. I will be there. And I sat down to play games with other designers. Played a whole bunch of games from other designers. A whole bunch of designers played a whole bunch of my games. And one of the games I played was this one, Purrrlock Holmes, with Steven Sauer and a whole table full of people. And it captured me nearly immediately. Cat puns are funny, but the gameplay really got me pretty quickly. The gist of it is that each player will have one suspect card that's facing away from them. And there's both a type of animal and an hour that the crime was committed. See, Furriarty doesn't commit any of the crimes himself. He has other people do his biddings. And so all of them are different species, and you'll see various species. And like I said, the Victorian-era animal artwork from Jackie Davis is just so good. But you'll have one that's in front of you, and then you'll get 2 free clues. And it's a lead if the animal or matches, or if the hour is within 1 of the hour that the crime was committed. In this case, this would be a lead because the 12 is within 1, because it's a clock, and 12 and 1 are next to each other. This next one here would also be a lead, in this case because of the 2, which could be confusing because I could start to think that the lead is because they're both dogs. But that's how you would work it out, what it is. Like this 10 would be a dead end because it's not within 1 hour or matching 1 o'clock, and crows and geese are not the same animals. So that's the basics of it. And you have this neat little board here with the pipes on one side and the fish on the other. Pipes are where you put all the cards that are leads. The dead fish side is where you put all the dead ends, and it shows you all the animal types and all the hours of the clock in case you need to reference that as you're trying to figure out exactly what it is that's in front of you. But this game we played with a table full of people, and I had my guess narrowed down to 1 of 2 cards. 2 specific cards. It was a 50-50 shot. And I was not doing very well. I was fairly in the back of the pack as far as things go. And I knew that I needed points. So I needed to not only get the point chit that was immediately on offer, which when you guess, you get 1 of these point chits with the little paw prints. And it was a situation like this where there was a 1 in front of a 3. So if I guessed just 1 of the things, either the species or the hour, I would get just this 1 and open up this 3 for everybody else. And I was behind, so I wanted to be able to guess both of them to get both of the tokens, to try to put me back in the running, because I was pretty far behind at that point. And I just couldn't make myself do it. I couldn't make myself take the 50-50 guess. And I was like, okay, I'll just pass. The very next person shows 1 of the 2 cards that they drew, because I passed them 2 cards, and 1 of the next cards that they drew that they show is 1 of the 2 cards that I've narrowed it down to. And I was in that moment, I wanted to flip the table. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I actually got up and walked away, and then walked back and sat down, and in that moment, the moment of Gen Con had happened, like my gaming moment. The game had got me right there. I was hooked. I knew I had to have a copy. I demanded to be allowed to get a prototype copy. I was told that wasn't possible. So I had to wait until Origins of this year when I got my copy. I saw the stack of games and I hugged it because it's such a fond memory in my mind. It's one of those things that just doesn't leave you when you're gaming. And so this game is a deduction game and reminds me of gaming with my dad, and it reminds me of that event at Gen Con. Every time I play it, I had it narrowed down to just one of two guesses, and I couldn't make myself guess, and the very next card is one of them, and I would have been able to get all of it. It was so just wonderful, so wonderful of an experience, and I am so happy to have a copy of this game for my very own now. I'm sure that eventually one day I'm going to play Sleuth with my son, but I think Purrrlock Holmes is probably what we're going to play instead of Clue. Probably still going to break out Mastermind, because I have a copy of Mastermind, and Mastermind's pretty good for starting that kind of deductive stuff. But I think Purrrlock Holmes is going to be the game that he remembers playing with his dad. And that, in and of itself, is why I play board games, encapsulated in the story of one game. Purrrlock Holmes is fantastic. If you like deduction games, I highly recommend it. If you guys have any stories about games that remind you of past experiences, or that have those perfect little moments, feel free to share those. I would love to hear them. It's one of the things that I love about gaming, is all of those meta-level stories exist inside of our hobby that don't exist in a lot of others. You know, like, I may remember where I was when I saw a movie, but the consumption of the movie is the thing. Like, playing the game is one level, and the meta game or the meta stories around it and above the table are another, and our hobby has that in a way that a lot of others don't. So feel free to share those, guys. I would love to hear them. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign off with that. Purrrlock Holmes, fantastic game. Some wonderful memories brought up every time I pull this box out. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.